hope you all had a happy Memorial Day weekend. I would like to start by pointing out our star readers for this week. We have Jasmine, Marilyn, Pearl, and Amanda. Now I want to give a especially big shout out to Amanda this week because I looked to see how many books she has read since the start of the year. How many books all of you have read since we started doing Kids A to Z online. And Amanda has read more books than all of the other students. She has read 70 books. So great work, Amanda. I'm going to start with our Bible now. 12 spies. So remember, the Israelites have been living in the desert for a while now. Finally, the Israelites arrived near the promised land. God told Moses to send spies there. Moses picked 12 men. He told them, "Find out what the people are like. See if the land is good." The spies returned and said, "The land is beautiful. It is filled with plenty of food, but the people there are big and strong." Joshua and Caleb said, "Do not worry. God has promised us this land. He will give it to us." The rest of the Israelites did not agree with Joshua and Caleb. Then God said to Moses, "The people do not have faith in me. They cannot enter the land." For the next 40 years, God's people wandered in the desert. So they spent a long time in the desert because they did not show faith to God. All right, let's take a look at your math. I need to get my markers ready here and my board because today I know I'm going to need to use that for math. Okay. Pablo went to Sea Park to see the big fish tank. At 9 o'clock that morning, there were 8 fish in the tank. At noon, Pablo counted 12 fish. How many sharks were put into the tank between 9 o'clock and noon? So we're going to read it again, and we're going to look for the numbers that we need to have to figure out how many. So there were, Pablo went to Sea Park to see the big fish tank. At 9 o'clock in the morning, there were 8. So we know at 9 o'clock there were 8 fish. So we put 8 right here. At noon, Pablo counted 12 fish. How many fish were put into the tank between 9 o'clock and noon? I'm going to write this out so you can see what should be written in your boxes. So, plus okay. At 9 o'clock in the morning, there were 8. At noon, there were 12. So how many fish got put in there in between? So they have a number line there for you, and we're going to start right here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We know that there were 8 to start with, so we're going to start at 8, and then we're going to see how many it takes to get to 12. That's the number that's in between 8 and 12. So we're going to end at 12, and you need to count how many. 1, 2, count how many bubbles you have, and that is your answer to go in this box. All right, let's take a look at number 2. Need to quick erase this. The Sea Park staff began the day with 12 pails of fish. They fed the sea lions 5 pails of fish in the morning. By evening, all 12 pails were empty. How many pails did the staff use that afternoon? All right. We are going to read it again to make sure we know the numbers that need to go in our boxes. So, the Sea Park staff began with 12 pails of fish. They fed the sea lions 5 pails in the morning. By evening, all 12 pails were empty. How many pails did the staff use that afternoon? So we're going to do the same type of problem. We want to find the number that's in between. So we'll have our boxes here. We have 5 pails plus, we don't know, equals our 12 pails. We need to know how many it took to get from 5 to 12 because they used a total of 12. So we're going to draw out a number line and go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so we start at 5. And we know that they used 12 all together, their total, that detective word. And we're going to count to see how many it takes to get from 5 to 12, and that's the number that will go here. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Count all the bubbles, and that will be your answer right here. All right. Let's erase this one and take a look at number 3. A ticket to Sea Park cost $11. Jan paid $6 of her own money. Her mom paid the rest. How much money did Jan's mom pay? Jane's mom. Jane's. All right, so we're going to read this again. This time I'm going to read it with the boxes up so we can add them on there as we go. We know that we have our total and one of the numbers to begin with. So, a ticket to the Sea Park costs $12. So that's the total, or $11. $11. Jane paid $6. So we know she paid $6 of her own money. Her mom paid the rest. How much did her mom pay? So we have $11 in total, and she paid $6. So we need to find how much money is in between. So I'm going to write out my number line. We're going to start at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, because we want to have some numbers on either side so we know where we need to count in between. All right, so I'm going to start at 6 because we know she paid $6 of her own money, and we know it costs $11 to get into the park. And how much money is in between? We count the bubbles. 1, 2. How many bubbles did it take? Goes right here. That's how much money her mom paid for her. All right. I'm going to erase this and we're going to turn it over to problem number 4. Okay. A SeaWorld t-shirt cost $25. Allie only had $10. Her brother gave her the rest of the money needed to buy the shirt. How much money did Allie's brother give her? So, this is a very similar problem to the one we just did with how much money it costs to get into the park. But this time, instead of buying a ticket, they're buying a t-shirt. There's 2 different ways we could do this problem. We can count how much is in between 10 and 25, or we could subtract the problem and go 25, take away 10 is going to tell us. So we're going to do it both ways so you can see we're going to find the same number. Let's start with 5 take away 0 equals, and 2 take away 1 equals. I'm going to quick write out that number line between 10 and 25 so we can see that we find the same number. All right. Have a little patience with me because it takes a while to write out a number line that long. Okay, so we have from 9 all the way up to 26 there. So we know that she had $10 of her own money and it cost $25, and how much is in between. So we're going to put a star on 10 and a star on 25 and count the in between. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I hope you took a chance to either count on my board or you drew it out for yourself, and you should find that the number that we have here and the number that you got when you subtracted should be the same number. So you can either count in between or you can subtract to find your answer to this problem. All right, let's move on and work on problem number 5. It's pretty cool how these detectives can use different ways to get the same answer so we know that they're correct. All right. Lexi wanted to buy a stuffed toy at the Sea Park. The toy cost $22 plus tax. Lexi paid $25. How much money was the tax? So we can see they've started by writing those numbers for us. It says that the toy cost $22, but it cost her $25. So how much money was the tax that they had to put on there? So we can see that they have a number line for us that you're welcome to use. I'm going to make my number line look just the same on my board. 20, 21, 22, 23. So it's a little bigger and you can read it easier than if it's written on just the paper that I have. Okay. So we know that we're going to start at this number. We're going to start at 22 and we need to work our way to 25. And we need to count how many are in between to figure out the tax. So we go 1, 2, and count the bubbles to write our answer in this box. I dropped my paper. All right. And finally, the bottom, you're going to be doing some addition problems and some subtraction problems. And these are reviews, so I'm going to let you do them on your own. But I do want to remind you to draw a line down the middle so you can see the ones column and the tens column. You also need to watch for the sign. If it's a little dash like this, that means subtract. If it's a dash with a line through it, that's plus. Subtract, your number should get smaller, and add, your number should be getting bigger. Let's go ahead and look at your phonics for today. Today in phonics, you're going to start by drawing a picture of your favorite toy. So if this was me, I would put a pink stuffed bunny here because that is my favorite toy. So I draw my bunny in, and then I write this sentence. Remember, when we write a sentence, it needs to start with an uppercase letter and end with a period. If it's a statement like, my favorite toy is a pink stuffed bunny. So you need to draw it in, and then they started the sentence, my toy is, and you can finish the sentence telling us what your toy is. At the bottom, we're going to do the difference between naming words and describing words. So I'm going to tell you the name of this. This is paper. Now, I could describe this paper and tell you that this paper is white, this paper is a rectangle, but I'm telling you what the paper is. So the naming word is paper, and the describing words are the words like white and rectangle. So pretty. Is pretty a naming word or a describing word? Please put them in the right boxes. So naming words go here and describing words go there. Pretty. Boat. Is boat a naming word or a describing word? Truck. Naming or describing. Fuzzy. Is that a naming word or a describing word? Yellow. Is yellow a naming word or a describing word? And doll. Naming or describing. We're going to turn it over. And now we're going to be writing things in to tell us if there's something that you would find in a sandbox or if it's something you'd find on a ball field. So a dump truck. Would you find that in a sandbox or on a ball field? Baseball. Would you find that in a sandbox or on a ball field? Softball. Sandbox or ball field? Bats. Bats like you would hit a ball with. Would you find that in a sandbox or a ball field? Pail. Is that something you'd find in a sandbox or a ball field? And spade. Spade is like a shovel. Would you find that in a sandbox or a ball field? Now we're going to move down here and talk about the difference between big toys and little toys. So those are describing things. Is it described as a big toy or a little toy? Checkers. Are checkers really big or are they something that's small? Marbles. Are marbles big toys or are they little toys? A tent. Is a tent a big toy or a little toy? A bike. Is a bike a big toy or a little toy? Dishes, like we have in the kitchen at school. Are those big toys or little toys? A kite. Is that a big toy or a little toy? Wagon. Is a wagon a big toy or a little toy? And finally, yo-yo. Is that a big toy or a little toy? All right, please remember to keep reading and working on IXL. You guys all hopefully have a wonderful day.